Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. My name is Lambert Mbom. Welcome to yet another edition of the Lambom Show. This is the first in 2021, and today we have the privilege, the honor of welcoming a distinguished African who traveled to the United States in the 80s and has established himself here in the United States. He's living quite a comfortable life, but the last time I had him on the show, he gave us some tidbits on what it means, what we could be doing as African immigrants to improve on our lives and those on the continent. Within the context of the current changes that are going on in the United States, I decided to bring Sir OKPA on to talk about the EXIM Bank. Export-Import Bank. I first met Sir OKPA when the press release came out announcing the members of the Sub-Saharan Advisory Committee for the EXIM Bank. I saw his name on it and I reached out to him and he immediately endorsed. I am very happy to have him back on the show today. And again, if this is your first time, it's going to be a very spirited conversation. He's been in the United States for close to 30, if I'm not mistaken, over 30 years. Has very, very critical, he's very critical of the continent, Africa, for good cause. And again, just to set this up, one of the things that has been intriguing is the fact that while we all were celebrating Dr. Ngozi as being nominated to become the Director General of the World Trade Organization. And in the recent days, the fact that about 3 Nigerians were named into the Biden administration, Sir OKPA asked one question: how is that going to change Nigeria? And that kept me thinking. You know, it is important for us to think about these things deeply, not just get excited and stay at the emotional level that we have an African who is in the Biden's administration. The other questions must follow of what good is that to Africa, of what good is that to us even here in the United States who are Africans. But like I said, this is the first of a series of conversations that I'm going to be having every Wednesday. Wednesday every week is the commitment I've taken with OKPA, and we'll make sure that if we're not coming on, it's going to be every Wednesday at 6 p.m. And we are going to be talking about development, African development. What can we contribute as African immigrants towards African development? And like I said, so OKPA has been in Dallas. He came to Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, 1987. And he always says he has the same zip code, same phone number since he got to the United States. He's a very accomplished gentleman. And like I said, this is his second time. I'm really appreciative of his time. He has hosted at least 2 or 3 presidents of the United States in his home. There's a little thing that I'm writing about him that he did not know, which is going to come out with all those images. But again, this evening, we're here to benefit from his wisdom. We want to get his experience, the nuggets of wisdom which he shares regularly with me, so that all of us can contribute. When we left Africa and traveled to the United States, most of us came in search of greener pastures. And very often, we have contributed in one way or the other by sending remittances back home. But that is not enough. How about improving our own selves here so that we can improve on the continent? We are going to listen to Sir OKPA, and I want to take this opportunity again to say welcome and thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, Lambert. You're one of those guys who surprised me because we didn't know. Nobody introduced us. We're not even from the same country or speak the same tribal language. You do what most effective people do. You read about somebody, you went on and searched about them, and you reached out to me, and here we are talking. You and I have had our disagreements, but it doesn't change the core of what we are trying to do. How do we educate and inform each other so that we can do more? I'm not about somebody. I recognize achievements and I'm happy for them, but I'm about the institution. I mean, what does it mean that HK is XYZ or this is XYZ, Z? It's about the institution. Africans have been coming to America ever, more than a century. Let's even say it that way, regardless of how, they came in terms of slavery and other things. So why is it that in the 21st century, when we see somebody in government, we jump up and down? I mean, we haven't seen anybody yet who got to the level of Obama. Obama is Kenyan American. In 2009, when he got in there, everybody jumped up and down. Oh my God, we finally have somebody other than a white man who is president. 8 years came and go and went. What do we have to show for it? I mean, did Kenya stand out in Africa today as almost, because the ancestry of Obama is from Kenya? Is Kenya now the flagship of Africa, or is there any particular program that we say, oh, we got it because of Obama? So that's always the case for me. What do we get out of people being involved in politics? What institutions, what policies, have we been able to benefit from because of our own? So Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala being president of the World Bank or going to the World Trade Organization, okay, fine, that is good. I mean, she just got another job, she just got another title, but what is that doing for Africa? What is that doing for her hometown? What is that doing for Nigeria? In 1996 was the first time an African was president of the World Bank section on Africa. Is a Zimbabwean-born gentleman. Okay, what is going on in Zimbabwe today? Did Mugabe collapse that economy? In 1996, Zim dollar was a currency of repute. What happened to it? So let's move away from, like you said in your introductory remark, the emotional chant of chest beating, or our own is in there. Well, your own being there, what does it do for you? What has that got to do with the price of bread? Like my wife always asks me. So thank you for setting the tone for the conversation we're going to have this evening, and conversation we hope to have. This is not to make anybody not feel good, but to have good feelings. Black people love feeling good, but they don't have good feelings. And it's because our collective existence has not, reached the level to make us develop our economy. Whether our economy in Africa or economy in America, that is what this is all about. How is the collective good of a particular race? We have not achieved it. People go to Africa, Chinese, Asians, Lebanese, Indians, anybody go to Africa and they become what? Successful, millionaires. Lambert, I'm asking you, how many Africans have gone to China and become millionaires? Owned businesses in Russia, in India, in Cambodia, in Lebanon. How many? They haven't. So we are willing to give to others, but they're not willing to give to us because we haven't learned how to build institutions and how to be competitive. Is there any university in the world an African has not attended and oftentimes done very well academically? So why is it that at the end, when you are given a paper, you still run after the people that you were academically better than? So so I can't wait to see take your questions, or those of those listening. But I welcome conversation. I welcome fierce conversation. I welcome debate. At the end, we shake hands. We get things out of it to change our destiny. God is not going to make a special trip for Africans or Black people. He's not going to do it. Because if he does, he become a partial God. So we have to do it. He's giving us the same head and hands, just like everybody else. So sitting there and screaming Jesus and God all the time, he was our life when slavery happened. God was there. He watched it. He watched his own people being taken out across the Atlantic. Jesus died after slavery, or before, after slavery. Jesus died. Has anything changed? If he comes back the second time, what's he going to do differently? During when Jesus was here, were there not bad things happening? People getting killed, rape, murders, and all. So, but we sit there, Jesus, God, as if it's a new phenomenon, as if it's something all of a sudden we just found out about him. No, he's there. So put him aside, recognize him, but to develop your talent. Develop your skill. If Lambert, if I come in there and start slapping you and you screaming on Jesus, do you think Jesus is going to do anything? No, for real. He's not going to do anything. You're good. It's just like, oh my God, I gave you 2 hands to defend yourself, and you're sitting there and somebody's beating you up. You call him my name. In fact, he's going to overlook you. Learn how to defend and fight back.
So I am going to come back to that Jesus part of it. I know I seem to understand what you're saying in terms of balancing, but let's get back to where we started off. And I want to get back to where we started off in terms of, the institutions, building the institutions. And the last time we were on the show, you talked about how you built yourself up within the Dallas community and the different places. But the one thing I wanted us to talk about today is the EXIM Bank, because it's, I think, one of those realities in the United States that is unknown to many Africans, many African immigrants, and even many African Americans or many Americans. So you are on the advisory board. First of all, tell us what is EXIM Bank? Is it like a place where I can go and deposit money and pick it up, or what is the EXIM Bank all about, and how does that benefit us? How does it serve us who are African immigrants?
Well, thank you for the question. EXIM Bank is not a deposit bank. It's not like a bank, like you asked or made a comment of, you go in and cash a check. No, it's just, in fact, there was a debate to change the name to something else. Just like you have the World Bank. The World Bank is not a deposit bank, so EXIM is actually a credit export guaranteeing institution. It was established in 1934. And it's been in business that long. It's the largest bank of its nature in the world. Anybody can go in. It's EXIM, EXIM.gov. And then you can get all the information about it, get information on what it does. The Sub-Saharan Committee, Sub-Saharan African Committee that I serve on has been there, is authorized by Congress. I think if I'm not feeling too good about myself, I was the first Native African to be appointed to that subcommittee in 2019. And I got reappointed last year. So I got, I think by September this year or so, it will be 2 years. So what it does is to promote American export of goods and services to globally. So if you're an American-based company and you are doing business in Cameroon, in Nigeria, in any African country, and you've identified a customer who is going to buy your goods, and of course, again, it becomes an exchange. It becomes an export. So you export into that country, and the country that is getting the goods from you is importing. So what is the price of that? And the price is established, 1 million, 2 million, 10 million, whatever the case may be. And the banks go into the negotiation where EXIM will say, oh yeah, by you, Lambert Corporation, sending those goods to Cameroon, for instance, you're going to create this amount of American jobs. And those people getting those goods are going to improve on their own economy. Remember, export is not just about the transaction. It's going to be about the transformation of both the importer and the exporter. And in the Trump administration, the last administration, that's part of an agenda. It was called a transformative agenda. So that's basically what it does. It's a credit guarantee institution. So your bank here or the supplier said, okay, I'll supply to you. EXIM said, we will guarantee that. We will guarantee the payment of that good, provided the other side, is going to receive it and is going to do something with it. So whether you are here and as an American, and I always say this to Africans, when you are in America and you have achieved the citizenship status or even the green card, when you're going back to your native country to do business, don't go back there as a native of that country. You are going as an American who happens to be a native of, you're a Cameroonian, but you're an American. Because once you start feeling a certain way for the country you are exporting, then you may lose the opportunity and the support and the credibility of that blue passport. I tell people, I said, the blue passport is not just to go home and feel good. Use it for what it is, because it's one of the most recognized and respected passports in the world. So go there as an American who happens to be Cameroonian or Nigerian or Ghanaian, and let them know that you're not here for play. You're not here for an emotional, my people. You're here to make sure that this is done. So that's what EXIM does. I'm not a staff. I don't speak on their behalf. I'm, if you look at my profile that is noted in that, it shows I'm a small business person, and there for small business people, not specifically. I'm there for anybody. If you want to do business, you go online, you can find out what it takes. Lambert, in 1962, there was an African country that got loan from EXIM Bank. Can you tell me what that African country was?
No, Nigeria.
Ghana.
Okay.
$100 million from EXIM Bank in 1962. 5 years after Ghana became independent. So where is Ghana today? What has Ghana done? People always think America hasn't done for Africa. Well, what is America? America has been doing for Africa. One of the oldest trade agreements America ever made was with African countries, Liberia, Sierra Leone. Go look at that history.
Yeah.
So it's not what people have been doing for you, but how have you taken what people are doing for you to improve on yourself? So and I hope Africans that are here begin to be informed. Lambert, there's a difference between a scholar and a student. Africans are students. They're looking to take a test and pass an exam. They don't, after that, that's it. Scholar is an individual who is constantly learning, improving on themselves. You don't learn because you're taking a test. You learn because you want to improve. You want to understand the geography of where you are and the situations of where you are, and hopefully by having those understanding, you are able to do something with it. So become a scholar, not a student. Become a scholar.
So technically, the EXIM Bank is more for people who have established businesses and then want to trade with Africa, and they are looking for kind of loan guarantees, or they are looking for kind of insurances for the products and all that. And so definitely, it seems to me that the level of business that is being done by African immigrants, I don't find many people who qualify for that. Am I right? No.
Actually, there's no limit. There's no maximum. There's no limit. In fact, again, if you go to exim.gov, you will see 2019, the largest single loan transaction that EXIM Bank done was what? To Mozambique. To do what? For LNG project. When Ethiopia was buying a Boeing fleet, to increase their airline capacity, it was EXIM that made $1.something billion for them to buy that from Boeing. So Caterpillar, anything, you want to sell cars, whatever it is you want to sell, and you need financing. You need a credit guarantee or credit enhancement. EXIM is willing to look into it. They don't have any specific sector, or are they exclusive, exclusive of. No, it's as long as it's an American product or service going overseas, EXIM will look at it. Sometimes people don't do it, they don't know, and they use their own ability. If it's $100,000, they can easily finance that themselves. But you need to also know there are resources available for you. Lambert, in business, what they call the OPM?
No.
Other people's money. Secure yours and use OPM, and then if it becomes critical, you can always tap into your own and do it. But if you can get access to OPM, go for it, because then people go, you can pay back. Oh, you can do this. Africans are cash-driven people. They are not credit-driven. And, cash is finite. $1 is $1, but credit is elastic and infinite. So that means you can stretch credit. You know, if you heard about the rubber band concept, what is rubber band? You know, that's an economy. Use rubber band as an economy. Expand and contract. Expand and contract. If you learn how to do it without stretching the rubber band to breaking point, you will always survive because you know when to contract, you know when to expand. But if you push that rubber band beyond its limit, then what happens? It breaks. And then you go back and you start to tie it, and then it doesn't become a rubber band anymore. Now you have created a weakness. So that's what you do with the economy, and you do it with policies for the contraction and expansion.
So, Seokwa, so let's get down to, I am a simple African immigrant who is in the United States. I'm struggling to start off a business, and I'm not yet looking at, I understand that this is something that I will need. Okay, what can I be doing at this point in order to prepare myself? Because I know many Africans who are in business, healthcare here, for example, in DC, there are about 100 agencies that provide mental health services to consumers in DC. But we also have mental health patients in Africa, yeah. And many people are struggling now to try to develop similar services. What should I be doing to prepare myself before I get to the EXIM Bank to say, hey, listen, I have some little thing here. I'm struggling to export this kind of service to Africa, and I'm trying to see how can you help me to get my way around? Because again, everybody doing business thinks that it's only in America.
Well, here's what it is. It's good you brought that up. And again, I am very critical about those kind of people. Those people are service providers. You know, a bunch of Africans are in healthcare business because American policies encourages it domestically, and the state government and local government here and in the insurance program does that. So when you look at Africa on the other side, you know, the African healthcare program is practically non-existent. So the way they respond to mental health or independent living, assisted living for elderly people or people who have need, it doesn't exist. Most African countries don't even recognize what they call ADA, the American with Disability Act. So mobility areas, wheelchairs, and all that kind of stuff. Most African countries don't even care if you are not able to walk on your feet. You're on your own. You're on the ground. Nobody cares about that. So healthcare in America is going to be harder to transfer to a business in Africa because the corresponding African nations don't have programs that are similar to that of America. But to get started, what you have to do is identify what it is you want to do. You know, if it's a service providing, because that's what those people are, service providers. So what African country, what are they looking at in health? One thing that I have discussed about, you know, doing health for Africans is, for instance, if you go into Cameroon, Ghana, or Uganda, if you have a health insurance here, you find out oftentimes that your health insurance program doesn't cover you when you goes to Africa. If anything happens on your own, if you file a claim with your insurance company, they may decline it because, you know, your program, your premium covers you being in America. So how do you now take that wider? Oh, I'm going to be in Cameroon, and if I get sick, I need a medical treatment over there. You know, where do you go? With the treatment you get in Cameroon, Nigeria, or in any African country, when you submit your invoice for payment to your insurance company here in America, do they recognize it? Would they honor it? That's a policy issue. How do you do that? So you have to understand the market that you want to be in, the sector you want to be in, and know the issues that are affected domestically, and see if you can export those services to a similar country. That's a challenge, but it can be done. That's an opportunity, and those opportunities become monetized if policies are around it. American businesses are policy driven. African businesses are money driven. You know, sometimes there's no policy behind it. You just want to say, send me toilet rolls, and you know, you could buy it and you ship it, they buy it, and we move on. So what the African diaspora people can do with their countries of interest, they want to do business, is to start to help, you know, have conversation with the parliament and legislature arm of those countries. Say, if you guys can pursue these policies, it will put you in an alignment with America, so that it's easier to do business and take up advantage. So establish your business, know what business you want to do, and see who can be your customer domestically or internationally. It's international, that means where the EXIM banks come in and begin to say, oh, we can help you, we can finance you, we can support you with equipment. But if you're buying an X-ray machine from America to ship to an African country, the EXIM can finance that all day long, because it's an equipment. And there's an American manufacturer or American part of ownership of that equipment. But when it goes to mental health, when it goes to these other things that most Africans do here in being a healthcare provider, there's a challenge right there. Except, if you're able to identify a healthcare policy in the receiving countries that can align with that of America, and then you turn it into business.
So if I understand you properly, you are better off if you identify an American product. So let's use the example that you mentioned here in passing, Caterpillar, for example.
Yes.
Okay. Then you want to use the Caterpillars in Africa, in Ghana, for example. Mm-hmm. So you want to buy 10, 15 of these Caterpillars.
Yes.
It is easier for you to now arrange for EXIM Bank to be able to give you the guarantees that you need to get that. But again, you find the controversy with China, because it seems to be cheaper to get these things from China than to get from America.
But the thing again is, it's a matter of choice. Hey, you could buy a Toyota or you could buy a BMW. What are you settling for? And so Africans are not that quality-driven sort of people. They buy anything because they haven't mentally come to a point where they're going to differentiate and say, no, we're not buying made in this country, for instance. Would you buy an airplane made in India? You buy an airplane made in Lebanon? No. We have to. Those are the questions we ask. So America brand is a brand. America brand is superior. You may pay, more, but you will get longer. And then if anything happens to that equipment and you get back to the manufacturer, they have warranties, or they are willing to remedy it because their reputation is on the line. Most of these other countries don't have any reputation behind the product they sell you. Once you take it, you're your own. But if you have a Caterpillar made by America in Cameroon, in Nigeria, and something goes wrong, and you are able to go back to them and say, hey, this part of it is not doing well. Maybe there's something from their manufacturer side that they will send engineers. They will want to find out, because they don't want any other customer to have issues like that. But China ain't going to do it for you. Other countries are not going to do it for you, because then Africans are going to do what? They go to another person. So establish a relationship. I mean, I am partial to America. I'm an American. If I have my way, I don't care about China. How many Africans have gotten degree universities in China? How many Africans are going to go to China and run for city council in China? Or become part of their mayor or government? None. So when you go over there, you want to send your kids to go to school in America, and then you end up doing business with China. What kind of thinking is that? I mean, you should be tapping into your kids who are here, your country people who are here, and say, hey, how would you help me access America, and not to go to Lebanon? I mean, these are C countries. Lambert, if you go to school and you have a C student to copy from, are you going to make a C or C minus?
Definitely C minus.
Yes. So China is a C minus country. I don't care what Africans think. China is trying to copy from America. The success of China is dependent on America. And then we are copying from China. That is a C country. We should be copying from America.
I don't think the Chinese will be happy hearing you say that.
Please put their chairman or their top economists with me. I would make them look very flat. I will not copy from China. I don't care about all the fancy things they do. Lambert, do you know, if China was a country in Africa, in terms of per capita income, which is the measure of productivity, domestic productivity, do you know where China would belong if you were a country in Africa? Pick a number out of the 55.
Maybe number 2.
13. There are 12 African countries that have higher per capita income than China.
Oh,
If
wow.
India was in Africa, it would be number 34. If Lebanon is in Africa, it will be falling into number 40-something. So Africans don't even know their own statistical data in order to say, I'm not dealing with you. You have nothing to offer me. You have to be that confident to deal with competition. But when you are just weak, anything looks good. If you don't know the difference between a banana and a plantain, then that's what Africa is doing. So China is a C country. And I will not copy from a C student. I will copy from a B or A. Because hopefully, if I copy from an A student, I will end up with an A minus or B, but not from a C.
Right. So let me shift gears, because I know in one of the conversations we had, you talked about trade missions. You have been on a couple of these trade missions, and I'm sure it's capacity building for these countries. I'm sure you went to South Africa and a couple of them. So I've not looked at the report, but I don't see many Africans accessing the EXIM Bank. So on these trade missions, what are some of the things you are telling them and advising them on what to do in order to qualify for these?
Well, thank you, Alan. But again, you're asking the right questions. This is a conversation. One thing with Africans or the Black people, I always say, whoever put in the Bible, the prophet has no honor in their village or country, looked at the African. Other people pay attention to people from their own ethnicity, what they're telling them. The African is the one that, if I go to Nigeria today, or I go to Cameroon or Zimbabwe and they're talking issues, a white man or woman who doesn't even have 10% of my knowledge is going to get better attention. Because Africans think, oh my God, the foreigner. I mean, we have lived in America. A lot of these people don't even have college education. They're not even as vast and knowledgeable about issues, but when they go to Africa, they are welcome as angels. Oh my God, they come in and these are empty heads, not to demean anybody. We have to say what it is. So when I go on this trade mission, oftentimes I'm the one that gets the attention because I'm coming with the mayor or coming with a group of trade, like Chamber of Commerce, and they always ask, wow, for you being an African to travel with these people, obviously, it's not a party. You have something to offer, and I do. I don't have anything to offer better than anybody. But since I've been in America, I have invested. I've been here 30-something years. I've been self-employed since 1990. And I have taken the time to invest in understanding how American businesses operate. I'm not going to ever discuss how much money I make, or would I ever want to see my name on the Forbes magazine as richest. I don't care about all this kind of stuff. I care about effectiveness. I care about sharing information that empowers people, enables them to do more for themselves. That's what drives me, not this list of who is big or who is rich or who is number one or number two. I mean, you look at Dangote. Dangote is the richest Black man in the world. But go look at companies that are associated with Dangote. There's no company associated with Dangote of Nigeria that is at a value per share of $1. Are you listening? There's no company associated with the richest Black man in the world that when you look at the value per share, that is worth $1. But everybody's jumping up and down. Oh my God, he's rich. It's like, what company? You go to Seattle, you can see Microsoft and Boeing. You go to Austin, Texas, their computer. Where is the corporate headquarters of Dangote, and how is that area being transformed because of the presence of Dangote Corporation? Tell me. I'm a student of economics and businesses. I want to see that, not because, he goes to Dubai and throws a party. Those still don't mean anything to me. Anybody can charter a flight and do that. Tell me the companies. Tell me areas of Africa where Dangote Corporation is a brand and is a magnet and is attracting other companies or helping other companies grow. Because the way for businesses to grow is when you invest in those big businesses. That's the difference with the Western culture. When you invest in Microsoft is doing well, you're doing well. Or any of these companies, you and I are invested some kind of way through a mutual fund or directly buying shares in this company. How many Africans own a share in Dangote company? How many Africans own shares in the rich African companies? How many? You go to most African countries and you find out the stock market for those companies in those countries are, less than billion. For instance, all the company in Nigeria, that Nigerian corporations on the stock exchange of Nigeria are not worth $50 billion. Do you know the highest trading stock on Nigerian stock exchange, Lambert?
No.
Beer. Guinness. What does it tell you? Nigerians put their money where their mouth is. That's what they do. Drinking. You know, it's not in infrastructure. It's not in manufacturing. It's not in aviation. It's not in healthcare. It's not in things that directly improve and impact the positive aspect of life. It's in beer drinking. NBL, Nigerian Brewery Limited. They are the highest trading stock.
But again, that's a business, isn't it? So it seems as if that's easier. And because you talked about infrastructure, let's pull up, because I think that's an area where you have call it investment. What is the problem with us? What is the problem with investment in Africa? Because from what I understand, it is easier for me if I get into the call it infrastructure space and I want to do something to improve on the infrastructure of a country. And I can, get examples from here. Again, there is an opportunity with the EXIM Bank to be able to do something. What is the barrier? I don't seem to understand, because I think we Africans like to take opportunities. What is the opportunity that we are not seeing in this infrastructure and in this EXIM Bank that we are not running with it? Is it just that we are lazy? What is it?
Well, thank you for using the word so nobody will blame me. I got it from you, lazy. Lazy. Africans are lazy mentally. There's a mental laziness that is associated with the African, despite the number or amount of degree they have. So that is the challenge. Infrastructure can be both in the way the policies and the soft institutions operate, because policy is what is soft. This is how you do something. Then there's the hard one, the infrastructure hard of what roads, light, electricity, the building itself. So Africa is lacking on both. A lot of these businesses in America are driven by policies. That's why anytime a new president comes, you see the stock market start to respond in some kind of way, because nobody knows the policy he may throw in there to affect businesses. And then you see businesses begin to scramble and align to see, okay, how are we going to deal with this? How is this going to affect our stock prices and stock shareholders and the economy and our investment? Africans don't do that. Africans don't do that. How many times can you go back and say the Cameroonian, Nigerian, Ghanaian business people have lobbied their National Assembly for a particular program to be changed that will affect and benefit the economy? Tell me. I'll give Nigeria, for instance. Since 1999, how many laws have been passed by the Nigerian National Assembly that it could be attributed to the bankers of Nigeria, the lawyers of Nigeria, the real estate practitioners of Nigeria, the insurance practitioners of Nigeria, or the nursing association or the medical association? I want to see that law. They don't do it because they are mentally lazy. Again, thank you, Lambert, for letting me use your word, laziness. That's what they do. So, but they're out chasing transactions. So the infrastructure component, when it comes to the exit, is the money. Remember, anytime somebody loans you money, they're loaning you money at a cost. And what is that cost? The cost is driven by interest rate. So you go in, if you borrow in $1 from a bank in Cameroon and they're going to charge you 20%, and you borrow from a bank in America is going to charge you 4%, where would you go? You go for 4%.
Correct.
So what the African countries are doing is they are choking the growth in the economy because they don't address the issue of interest rate. They give the example of inflation. Inflation is in America. Lambert, when I came to America, I give you an example of the value of money. Nigeria is Naira. I paid 700 Naira for my flight from Lagos to London to Dallas. I got my receipt. Next time I'm going to put it out so people see it. I'm not making this up. Okay? The equivalent value of 700 Naira 33 years ago was $1,200. Okay? Hold that in your head. I can still go to America. I can still go to Nigeria for $1,200 American money for 33 years. So regardless of the inflationary factor, the dollar value has practically retained its value. Naira, 700 naira will not buy me a bottle of beer today in Nigeria. That is a shock. And Africans have PhD in economics, professors, and you're not addressing that? That's the infrastructure. That's the biggest choke on African countries, the devaluation of their currencies, and they have not addressed it. Because now, Lambert, I don't know the exchange rate of the Cameroonian money to the dollar, but it's probably out of whack. But if you can improve on that exchange rate to where the local currency begin to appreciate to the dollar, you are able to now do what? Attract the skill set you need to go and build the Cameroonian economy. So, but the values currency don't have them value, and that's why people flee.
Yeah, but again, I think just throwing the blame on Africans may be too much in terms of the fact that you're working within a system, isn't it? What can I do?
No.
Okay.
We have to look at the Middle East. What comes out of Middle East? Oil. Oil. But their currencies are comparable competitively to the dollar, because they went and told the American Treasury, don't mess with our exchange rate. If you do, then we're not going to be selling our oil to you. What is African saying? What is the African saying? Nothing. The African people, nations, I'm talking about the nations, because the nation is the people, the leadership is a reflection of the people. They have become the doormat for the World Bank, for the IMF, for all kinds of programs that are choking their people. And the 55 or so African heads of states have not come together and said, we don't want this anymore. We're not going to do this. And instead, they have gone along. They've gone along. So you have to. It's a system. If a system does not accommodate you, Lambert, don't be in it. Get out of it or challenge it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm thinking about that. That may work in the long term, but in the short term, do you have the risk?
In all the terms, it's about self-preservation. Self-preservation, but as an individual, as a nation, is the order of business. You have to self-preserve, and the way you self-preserve is to put yourself in the shoes of somebody else. You have to be competitive, and you have to be comparable. So there's nothing that says African countries should not be wealthy. But you can be wealthy when your currencies are often devalued, and you keep quiet. You keep quiet. You accept it. Some guy from World Bank or IMF shows up with a nice business card and says, well, you got to have to devalue your currency in order for, and you said, okay, you accept. But remember, your finance minister probably graduated from Harvard. And no more than this kid who's coming in because they have a business card that say they are international, whatever. You could tell them, excuse my word, F whatever. We're not going to do it. But then you go along. Remember, economic competition is to see who we're going to do what, intimidate, and we're going to make to do what they want so that we can sell them our goods. So you bow and they do it, and they sell you more, and then your currency it's not worth anything anymore. And then you start to scramble because it's all about the money. The reason most people migrate is what? Economic benefit. You mentioned it in your introductory remark. Greener pastures. You want to go. You want to go where it's doing well. If you live in Yaoundé or some villages in Cameroon, you're going to leave that village to go to Yaoundé because you think it's better. So the reason to make people not move is to have conditions that enable them to grow and expand based on what the other people are doing.
So again, I think we can go on with this push and pull factors for the African. Let's circle back. I mean, you are a small business owner in Dallas. I'm sure you have other Africans around you. What are some of the tips you want to provide for people who are struggling to get into business and who may not be sure of what to do? Because again, everybody wants to go back to the continent but wants to maintain a certain one leg in America. What advice do you have for these people?
Well, I mean, you can't eat your cake and have it. You got to make a choice, okay? And what I say to people is, whatever business you want to do, understudy the business. Tend to understand what are the issues. And no business stays forever without having to deal with policies. I can tell you when I came to America, how real estate and how borrowing for real estate and how the rules, both from the state level to the federal, have affected that industry. And they keep doing what? Adjusting and adapting. But we don't do that. So get to know your industry and then see. I mean, okay, I'm in real estate and I do a whole bunch of stuff in real estate. I can do what I do in real estate here in Nigeria, but I can go to Nigeria and build anything. But I probably would be building it from my money or borrowing from banks there that are choking me with interest rate. But in America, there's a limit. That's how much you cannot charge somebody if you're doing real estate, because the law says you can't charge those kind of interest rate. But in Nigeria, in Africa, they don't have those boundaries. You go borrow money in Cameroon, what are you going to get? Maybe 40%. Or in Ghana, 40%. So how are you going to survive on 40% as a businessman? So every business struggles. Look, if you see the big corporations, if you see what they do constantly, they are constantly borrowing money in order to keep their dog going. But at least there's this assurance in the system that there's a confidence in the system. Most African economies, they don't have confidence in it. For instance, you can borrow money in America to buy a house for 30 years, fixed rate, give you a mortgage for 30 years. How many African country banks can give you money, give you a loan for 30 years? They wouldn't even give you for 30 days. They will be knocking on your door. Where's our money? And the bank manager, anytime the bank manager want to throw a party, want to make you a chairman so you can donate some money to what they're doing. So those are policy issues. But we think it's okay. We make fun of it. We laugh at it. But that is what is choking the people. If you're financial, there are 5 letters I want you to remember, Lambert. You can write it down. F-I-L-E. No, F-I-R-E-L. Did you get it?
I-R-E.
Frank, Indigene, Robert, Edward, Lambert. F-I-R-E-L. You want me to explain to you what those letters are?
Yes.
It's about the finance, insurance, real estate, and law. Any country that don't have those letters stabilized in their country will never grow. That's what drives the economy of every country. For real.
So finance,
insurance,
Mm-hmm.
real estate, and law, which is, law means rules, regulations. Of course, real estate is land and building and the rights that go with it. Insurance, that I have confidence this is going to be. And finance, it is the money that makes it happen. So if you go and check each African countries under those 5 letters, you're not going to get any output that impresses you. You're not going to.
I think that, in fact, gives me a good segue into this, because that's interesting. It seems as if you are looking for an area in which to really build up a good capital, call it a good investment, maybe some aspect of finance, some aspect of insurance, some aspect of real estate. I mean, I don't know what.
And some aspect of law. There's going to be a law guiding the borrower and the lender.
I don't know whether lawyers still make money, because I see not many people go into law school these days. So again, there are lots of Africans who are in finance. There's some insurance schemes that are coming up all over the place about life insurance and all that. But real estate, that used to be some booming industry for Africans in the United States. I don't know whether that's still the case.
Well, it depends on what Africans are doing in real estate, because I can explain that to you all day long. Africans are involved on the physical aspect of real estate, which is the land and the building, but they are not involved in the rights that go with the real estate. So now, how do you make a real estate and export good, Lambert? You can't move a building. You cannot. Your building in Cameroon is fixed. It's immobile. But you can export that the rights you have in that real estate and create an economy out of it. Africans are not able to do it because nobody buys the rights Africans have on real estate. We can have that as another conversation, and I can give you something you get a PhD out of by just so Africans are in real estate. Africans in everything. I mean, is there any economy don't we have African doctors? How many hospitals in America are owned by African doctors? Go to Washington, D.C. and ask the question. How many hospitals do Africans own? A lot of African doctors in America are what I consider bedside practitioners. They see patients. They're not involved in the administration and management and policies that affect the institutions they work in. And that's fine. But if 80% of them or 90% of them are bedside practitioners, what time are they going to have to think about policies that affect what they do? You just want to go in there, submit their hours, they get paid nicely, they come home and they have a nice house. And on Sundays, they invite you to come and eat rice in their home and they clap for them. But what policies have they participated? Have they ever written a policy to affect medical practice? No, they have not. Well, look at Indians. A bunch of Indians own medical hospitals in America. Lots of other immigrants. How many banks do we own in America as African immigrants? How many? Who do we send money? If you want to send money to Cameroon, are you not going to go to Western Union as an option? So where are our own community banks? We don't have any.
Yeah, but that's because of the regulation in place, isn't it?
Because of the regulation, and we don't even know that we can even do one. We don't. We don't. We come to America, we get excited. We send pictures to our people in our village, and they dance for us. That's what we do. We're not sending policies. We're not engaging our politicians. Hey, look at Africa has more ambassadors in Washington, D.C. than any other continent. So have you ever met an African ambassador that you're impressed with? So what do you see on Sunday? They come to the child naming ceremony in your home. How many times have you seen them on TV talking about the countries that they're supposed to represent in America? They don't show up. They're not participants. They're spectators.
Well, that's also partly because of the ropes of diplomacy, isn't it? You
go in there, you create it. Hey, Lambert, if there are 54 of you in your team playing soccer and mine is 11, who's going to win that game?
Well, there's a possibility that 11 can win the 54.
Yeah, because if they're playing with children. So the Africans may have the same level of manhood, but their behavior is likely to be like childish. Yes, 11 will beat 54 if 54 are children and they behave childishly. Let's call this in what it is. How many times have you seen the Cameroonian ambassador to US on local TV in Washington, D.C. talking about Cameroon and the challenges of that place? How many times? You live there. You live in that neighborhood.
No,
you will see them. Huh?
No, never. I think they're involved in maybe soft diplomacy in the background.
There's no soft diplomacy. They are involved in just jollof rice eating. They don't. There's no diplomacy here. Because if it's soft, that means they are doing behind the scene. That means they are doing things to improve the image of Cameroon. Just tell me that. There's something my people say. They said, pregnancy cannot be hidden.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can hide it. So. It's either you're in the front and people see it, or you're in behind pushing the people that are in front of you. Tell me one thing. Tell me one African ambassador in America that you're proud of, that comes here and they will make a significant contribution for the image of their country. They don't do it. They just come in and say, hey, Lambert, remember we went to school together. Hey, is your wife cooking rice this weekend? Can I come over?
So, say before in the last few minutes we have, I wanted us to talk about two other things related to the EXIM Bank. Since that's where I wanted to focus the conversation.
Go ahead. It's like everything we've talked about is also about the export.
Oh yeah, sure.
It doesn't have to be like we're doing it line by line. I know.
Yeah, there are two things. One, there's something called an African EXIM Bank. I don't know the African. I don't know whether that's related to
African. The African Export-Import Bank. It was created in 1992 or early 90s. In fact, the president of that bank, Dr. K. Orama, is my high school mate. Both of us went to the same high school in Nigeria. So You can Google it. It's AFR, then ZIM, EXIM.com. If you see they are .com, they are not .gov, because there's no African, the African Export-Import Bank is not backed by any African treasury. US is backed by US Treasury. The US EXIM Bank is backed by US Treasury. But there's an African Import-Export Bank, and it's supposed to facilitate trade between Nigeria and Cameroon, because trade between Nigeria and Cameroon is international. Between Cameroon and Uganda is international, even though they are in the same continent. Trade between US and Mexico and Canada is international, even though they are not American.
Yeah, and since you mentioned that intercontinental trade, Africa, the new thing, Africa Continental Free Trade thing, is there anything for us? Because that was the good news on January 1st, 2021. Africans have finally come together to create a single market so that we can be trading amongst ourselves. Why is it easier for somebody to trade, to buy things in the US than it is to go next door to Nigeria? What is your take about?
Look at the structure of the African countries. Look at Cameroon and Nigeria. Are they not next door neighbors?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, but if Nigeria is having problem with Cameroon or vice versa, let's say, hey man, come to Yaoundé. Let's talk about this. The guy in Cameroon is going to Paris, and then the guy in Nigeria is going to London, and you are neighbors. Okay. No. This is the geodynamic issues of African nations. They don't talk to each other. They still go into their former colonial masters to say, oh, what should I do? Geez, the Cameroonian looks like the Nigerian or vice versa. Why are we checking on the white man to come and tell us what to do? Why? We have created this superior mentality going to the white man all the time for problems that we can solve. And they take advantage of it. It's what it is. Regional, the Cameroonian on the west side of Cameroon and the Nigerian east side have much in common than the Cameroonian on the east, who should be looking to Central Africa, and the Nigerian on the west, who should be looking for Togo and Elema. It's a regional understanding. They have married each other for centuries. Why are you not doing business? Why are you not bridging the barrier? And that's the infrastructure. Go to the National Assembly of those countries and say, oh no, we want this thing to happen in this particular thing, because we have known each other for centuries. Hey, Lambert, in love, there's a word they use. They say proximity is love, and love is proximity. So the nearer you are, your love should be stronger. So why is the love of a Cameroonian with somebody in Paris and the love of a Nigerian is with somebody in London? Why?
How do we tear down these systems? Because it seems from what you're saying, we now have to redo everything.
No, we have to deprogram ourselves. We've got to look. You've sat in the same classroom with any white man or any Asians. So why is it that when they give you a degree, you start looking for a job and they go turn their own into something? It's a mental situation. You have to physically, mentally challenge yourself in order to be successful in life. You can't wish things in life. You have to have the will. Africans don't have the will to accomplish what they want. They wish for it. Oh, I wish the Frenchman would come here and do it for us. Oh, I wish the Chinese would come here and do it for us. And they come. And when they do, they get paid.
So I think basically it's a mindset revolution.
Go and look it up. And when you look it up, you will see my name. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'll give you the honor. Lambert now becomes my manager. He can manage me. If he doesn't like you, he can't get to me.
Hey, there you go. So all America. So I guess 2 more minutes, and I just want to, out of respect for your time, because we have a whole year to go with these conversations. But so today we have been talking about trade. We're talking about the EXIM Bank, which is in the United States. That's export-import bank that's meant to provide guarantees for American citizens who want to export goods across the world. And we Africans who are in the United States have the opportunity to benefit from it. Sir Ed here said he is a member of the Sub-Saharan Advisory Committee of the EXIM Bank. He does not speak on behalf of them, but he has a wealth of information to share with us. So any last words, Sir Okpa?
Well, look, the media is what you're doing here, is creating awareness and sharing information. Just like the professor who speaks to a class at the beginning of any semester. Every student that registers for that course gets an A. So what is towards the end of the semester, we see who's going to hang in there, who's going to benefit from what the professor said. So I thank you for taking the initiative to build this relationship and have this conversation. We have to have uncomfortable conversations amongst ourselves. It's not about, this other feel good. I'm not a feel good guy. I rather have good feelings so that I can feel good. So thank you for doing this. Hopefully another topic or another thing we're going to do is going to be an eye opener. And we're going to get into mechanics. Tell me how and why. That's what drives economy. So we get into why. How do you build infrastructure? What does infrastructure do for your country? The infrastructure benefits the country better than export. So when good roads are built in Cameroon, power and light and water are running in those countries, they benefit them. So we need to do that. The African is not the doormat of every other races. They are not. But if you make yourself a doormat, like my mom always said to me, what happens to you when you become a doormat? They step on you or they step over you. Oftentimes they step on you.
Right.
So don't be a doormat, please. No matter what you do in life, don't let anybody make you a doormat. If you submit, don't get subdued.
Thank you very much. And again, like I said, this is the beginning of a series of conversations we'll have every Wednesday, same time, same station. We're going to be coming up with topics specifically around African immigrants in the United States and African development. And again, I'm very privileged, very honored to have met Okpa, and again, very accessible. He's been in the United States for over 30 years, so he has the experience, and I know he's mentoring a lot of people.
Texas.
Yes, exactly.
Next time we talk, I'll show you my cowboy boots, okay? I cleared this place, okay? You know what? Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for what you do. Never you quit challenging me, because when you challenge me, you're making me better. When I challenge you, I'm making you better. We cannot just settle for comfort and convenience. We have to have commitment. And our friendship does not change when we oppose each other, because we're shooting for what is good for our people. That's why I don't have friends. My wife always tells me that. I say, I don't need them. I don't have people to go drink beer with. I'm always drinking it in my head.
That's a good place. I want to drink in that head too.
Yes, in my head.
Yes.
I don't need to go hang out with some people, because this is about the individual. In the 4 factors of production, the human capital is the most significant capital. If you don't improve on the human capital, you can never improve on your land, on your production, and on your equipment. Let's go back to that basics. Let's empower us mentally. Africans migrate physically, they don't migrate mentally.
That is a great line. That's a great kicker. Africans migrate physically, they don't migrate mentally. I think we'll take it from there. Again, I'll be on Saturday, this coming Saturday at noon. I have a friend who has written a book, Color Me, Mrs. Lambif. She'll be on to talk about her book on Saturday at noon. Then on Monday, we'll be talking about men's health. I'll be with BK from the UK. We'll be talking about men's health, mental health, and men, especially African men in the diaspora. And of course, we'll be back for our weekly Call It Soup with Okpa. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Happy New Year. And I want to take this opportunity. Maybe I ought to have started here, because one of my friends who spent co-hosted programs here with me just lost a dad. I want to take this opportunity to say, Lorraine Niba, you are in our prayers. We pray for the eternal repose of your dad. We wish you well, and we hope that you'll be able to commend your dad to the Lord's bosom. Take time, and we dedicate our time to say, Ashia, it shall be well. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a good evening from Washington. and from Dallas with Sir OKPA. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can always follow us. These conversations are always going to be there, and let's grow this network. Thank you again, and good evening. Bye.